watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on. News 25 is brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us here on News 25 and Ace Country Radio, and now streaming at KPVM.TV, and now on Roku. Wednesday, February 28th. Hi, I'm Chris Palermo, and here's what's happening. This just into the newsroom. A two-vehicle crash occurred today at approximately 2:30 p.m. off of Homestead in Pahrump, just west of Highway 160. According to officers, a black Fiat was traveling west on Homestead when a silver Ford sedan was pulling out of the source, attempting right-hand turn, and crashed into the black Fiat. Nye County Sheriff's Office deputies and Nevada Highway Patrol were on the scene. There are no reported injuries, and traffic was diverted away from the scene during the investigation and cleanup. And earlier, another two-vehicle crash happened today in that same area. News 25 reporter David Preston has the story.
Jason Ernest of Mountain West Lawyers. Don't be bullied by insurance companies. Call me, 775-727-9500.
A two-vehicle crash happened earlier this afternoon at the entrance of Maverick's gas station near Highway 160 and on Homestead Road. A tan Chevy Suburban traveling westbound on Homestead attempted to make a left turn into the parking lot of Maverick's. While doing so, the driver of the Chevy attempted to maneuver in between stopped vehicles who were waiting at the red light near Highway 160 to make the complete turn. But then a white Toyota Corolla traveling eastbound on Homestead also attempted to make a right turn into the same parking lot of Mavericks when both vehicles struck each other. The female driver of the Toyota Corolla was treated by Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue for minor head injuries. Nye County Sheriff's Office and Nevada Highway Patrol arrived on scene. The entrance to Mavericks on Homestead was closed during the investigation and cleanup. There are no other reported injuries.
More news now. Both Israel and Hamas are downplaying President Joe Biden's recent comments about a ceasefire agreement happening soon. Also, recent protests have begun against both sides, one of which has even led to the death of a U.S. Air Force member. R.J. Camacho has the story.
After President Joe Biden had claimed that Israel was willing to halt the war on the condition of a hostage exchange deal, both Israel and Hamas played down those chances. Joe Biden also stated that he was hoping that by next Monday we would have a ceasefire agreement. According to Israel, Biden's comments came as a surprise to them and were not made in coordination with the country's leadership. An official of Hamas has also stated that the group doesn't plan on softening its demands that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has called delusional. According to an anonymous Israeli official, Israel wants a deal to be made immediately with Hamas, but claims that Hamas continuously pushes forth excessive demands. Additionally, the officials also stated that Israel is insisting that female soldiers that are hostages be among the first group released in any truce deal. Hamas official Ahmed Abd al-Hadi stated that any optimism on the deal was premature. He went on to state that the resistance is not interested in giving up any of its demands, and what is proposed does not meet what it had requested. Meanwhile, an active duty member of the U.S. Air Force died after he protested outside the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. by setting himself on fire. According to reports, the Air Force member, who was identified as 25-year-old Aaron Bushnell, was declaring, "I will no longer be complicit in genocide," as he was on fire. Reports stated that Bushnell approached the embassy just before 1 p.m. on February 25th. He had began live streaming on video streaming platform Twitch. Law enforcement officials believe that he had set the phone down before dousing himself in accelerant and igniting himself. The video was later removed from the platform, but officers have obtained and reviewed a copy of the footage. On February 26th, the Air Force stated that Bushnell had succumbed to his injuries and passed away. Bushnell was a cyber defense operations specialist who served in the 531st Intelligence Support Squadron at Joint Base San Antonio and served since May of 2020. Colonel Selena Noyes, who is a commander from the 70th Intelligence, Surveillance, and Reconnaissance Wing, spoke on the matter, stating that, when a tragedy like this occurs, every member of the Air Force feels it. We extend our deepest sympathies to the family and friends of Senior Airman Bushnell. However, Bushnell wasn't the only one to protest the Israel-Hamas war. While Bushnell protested against Israel, families of the hostages being held in Gaza, as well as their supporters, were protesting against Hamas, demanding that their loved ones be set free from captivity. The families and supporters of said families began a march today on February 28th that is to last 4 days, starting in southern Israel and ending in Jerusalem. The march comes as negotiations are currently underway in mediating nation Qatar, as they try to bring a deal forth between Israel and Hamas that would lead to a ceasefire. The suffering of the hostages being held in Hamas has shaken Israeli citizens who believe that those hostages' plight is a symbol of Israel's failure to protect its citizens from Hamas's assault on October 7th of 2023.
More news now. Nevada Senator Jackie Rosen and Congresswoman Susie Lee have joined together on legislation that will protect Americans' rights to assisted reproductive care. News 25 has more on this story.
On February 27th, Nevada Senator Jackie Rosen joined legislation meant to protect Americans' right to access in vitro fertilization and other assisted reproductive technology. The legislation is called the Access to Family Building Act, which establishes a legal right to access IVF and other assisted reproductive services, overriding any state effort to either limit or ban such access. Jackie Rosen says this is to ensure that no one can be prevented from trying to start or grow a family. It also allows the Department of Justice to pursue civil action against any state, government official, individual, or entity that violates protections in the legislation. Since 1981, over 1 million infants have been born with the help of assisted reproductive technology, which includes IVFs. According to reports, 1 in 6 women have difficulty getting pregnant or carrying a pregnancy to term. Jackie Rosen claims that anti-choice extremists who overturned Roe v. Wade was just the beginning when last week they tried to block women's access to IVF at the Alabama Supreme Court. She went on to state that this cruel decision is already hurting some women's ability to begin or continue fertility treatments. Nevada Congresswoman Susie Lee also joined this legislation as well as a co-sponsor. She went on to state that, because of IVF, I was able to create a family, and without it, I would not have my 2 incredible children.
And coming up, more on our series of interviews that we recorded at the Lincoln Day dinner last Friday night. Tony Grady is running for U.S. Senate. We'll have that up in just a bit. You're watching News 25.
You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on. News 25 is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law, voted Best of Las Vegas. Give them a call, 702-727-9900. News 25 is also brought to you by Desert View Hospital. You can count on us.
Welcome back. News 25 met up with U.S. Senate candidate Tony Grady at the Lincoln Day dinner that took place at the Pahrump Nugget Friday evening. I spoke with Tony about his campaign. Tony, you're here in Nye County tonight.
Yes.
Obviously, that's very important to you.
Yes.
All of the counties are diverse. Nye County is different than Clark County. How will you serve all of the counties?
Well, I'll tell you how I serve all the counties. When I ran for lieutenant governor, our present lieutenant governor edged me out by 5.8%, Stravos Anthony. I won 13 of the 17 counties when I ran for lieutenant governor. Nye was one of those counties that I won. And I won it because I was down here speaking to the Nevadans in Nye County, and I will represent them well. and they agree that I will represent them well, and that's why they voted for me. So I'm looking forward to them voting for me again for U.S. Senate, because they know that I have their interests at heart. I've been all over the state finding out what the problems are in each of the areas and what Nevadans want, and that's how I will represent all Nevadans.
So let's talk about stuff that hit people in the pocketbook.
Yes.
The cost of groceries. Nevada has been deemed the second most expensive place to buy groceries. Fuel costs are going through the roof.
Yes.
What's the remedy?
Well, the remedy is we need to pump more. We need to get our energy prices down, because when the energy prices go down, all the prices in the supply chain go down. And so Jackie Rosen has failed Nevadans on that, because right now in the newspaper she's feigning that how can we deal with these prices? But if you look at her actions, which are the voting record, which is the voting record, you will see that she's practically rubber stamped everything that the Biden administration has put forward. So Nevadans are paying $11,400 more a year just to have the same parity, just to have the same lifestyle that they had before this administration took over. So we need to remove this administration. We need to vote Jackie Rosen out.
One last question, kind of lightning round here. We have a couple of big infrastructure projects that could come to fruition in the next session, which would be the A's coming here to overtake the Tropicana land, and the Bright Line, the train from LA to Las Vegas. Where do you stand on all that?
Well, we have to diversify here in Nevada. And it's interesting that a lot of people go, why do we want to do this? We're becoming one of the sports capitals of the world. That's really important. We just had the Super Bowl, so the A's coming is a good thing. And people wonder why the trains. Well, one of the things that's very important about Nevada is people like to come here for conferences. People like to come here to do things. We want to make it more family friendly. And so by that train actually going down to Anaheim, what's close to that? Disneyland. So that helps Las Vegas, it helps Nevada, specifically Las Vegas, to become a lot more family friendly. So when families come, when there are people that have to come, it's actually going to work in our favor, and that is going to help our economy grow. So those are all good things.
More news now. February was selected for Black History Month as it coincides with the birth dates of both President Abraham Lincoln and social reformer Frederick Douglass, who are both tireless freedom fighters. Maria Centers now joins us from Las Vegas with more.
As Black History Month draws to a close this year, I had the honor and privilege to speak to retired U.S. military Staff Sergeant Gerald Taylor about what this month means to him as an African American here in Las Vegas, and why he believes it's so vital for all Americans to get out and vote.
You just think about how long ago it was that we forget that we were enslaved as a people, and now we have our freedom. We're trying to really celebrate this thing and bring it out, that we should be like celebrating our happiness, the joy of things of being free, and then like free to vote.
In 1976, U.S. President Gerald Ford officially recognized Black History Month, while U.S. Congress formally designated February under public law as National Black History Month in 1986.
I'm going to vote for Donald Trump, because I believe that Donald Trump is the man that can get the money back to America the way we need it, and we can be free and have what we need to do to make that money.
According to the World Economic Forum, the month-long spotlight is an opportunity for people to engage with Black histories, go beyond discussions of racism and slavery, and highlight Black leaders and all of their achievements.
I believe that Kamala Harris has put more Black men behind bars in California, but we just hope that, we could change that, because we need to be here in the streets being free, not making that money, not being behind bars. You can't make money when you're in jail. You can't help the community when you're in jail. U.S. President Donald Trump voiced to his supporters not to deal with Nevada's primary as he was not on the ballot, but nearly 44,000 patriots cast votes in his favor. All the Black people in Las Vegas to get out here and vote, because it's very important. Our votes do matter. And it's like that we can help our community by putting the right people in office. Reporting from Las Vegas, I'm Maria Centers with Southern Nevada News Network.
And for more information on how to become a registered voter, if you are not already, check out vote411.org. And on Tuesday, the Welcome to Las Vegas sign turned red in honor of National Heart Month. At the event, the Children's Heart Foundation is recognized as well for their efforts in serving the community.
Well, we're here with the Heart Foundation to shine the brightest light that we have in Clark County on the cause, on the work that they're doing, the advocacy, the financial contributions they're making to families who really need it. Nearly 1% of babies born in this country are born with heart defects, and that's why the work that they're doing is so important, to make sure that no one goes unserved, that resources and information are available for all who need it.
On February 27th, the Welcome to Las Vegas sign changed its colors to red in honor of National Heart Month, a month dedicated to raising awareness of the health risks one's own heart can face. At the event, the executive director of the Children's Heart Foundation, Melissa Cipriano, spoke on how the organization was recognized at the event and what the foundation does for families whose children are affected by heart disease.
Everything we do at the foundation is to help the family financially, emotionally, or with quality of life programs while they're going through a medical crisis with their child. And just to have this recognition in our community, turning the iconic Welcome to Las Vegas sign red in honor of these heart warriors is so important to our families.
And your sports, weather, all that, and so much more coming up. You're watching News 25.
You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on.
Welcome back to News 25. In the Vegas Golden Knights, good game last night, actually yesterday afternoon. We're on the East Coast. Us older folk like those early afternoon games. We can stay up to the end. Mikey has all the details in sports.
Time now for your News 25 look at sports and streaming at www.kpvm.tv and now on Roku. Vegas Golden Knights on a
3-game losing streak
in Toronto last night. Got some highlights for you. Taking on the Maple Leafs, let's jump to the second period. Ivan Barbashev with a breakaway. 1-0. That was beautiful. Hopefully this marriage is going well. Jason Morello here with the deflection. Makes it 2-0. Less than a minute to go in the second period. William Karlsson makes it 3-1. On to the third period. Jonathan Marchessault with his career-high 31st goal of the season. Golden Knights go on to win 6-2. Golden Knights go off to Boston tomorrow night against the Bruins. That's going to be wicked awesome. Boyd Gaming and the Boyd family combined $6.5 million to donate to UNLV so they can build a new indoor athletic practice facility. It's described as the largest combined family and corporate donation in UNLV athletics history. Vegas Thrill Volleyball were in Columbus on Monday. They fell to the Fury 3-1.
That's a 3-game losing streak.
They play the Mojo in San Diego tomorrow. A new app has been released to help fans stay connected to the Las Vegas ballpark ahead of the Aviators' upcoming season. With the new app, fans can access, transfer, and purchase tickets. They can also find a map of Las Vegas ballpark and use a built-in mobile wallet for concessions. UNLV coach Barry Odom will be part of the Horns and Helmets fundraiser at South Point this Saturday, March 2nd. He will actually be on a bull. Las Vegas Aces star Ajay Wilson made a visit to her statue right outside of the University of South Carolina. Wilson shared these pictures on social media saying, "Always gotta get my selfie." The Pahrump Valley Trojanet review is this Friday in the main gym. And that's your look at sports on News 25.
News 25 Weather Cam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
Beautiful shot from the Lerner and Rowe weather cam looking at wonderful Mount Charleston right outside the studios. And the National Weather Service has issued a high wind watch for Pahrump. That will be the theme, so hold on to your patio furniture.
News 25 weather is brought to you by Dairy Council of Nevada. Undeniably delicious, undeniably dairy. Enjoy what's real.
Good evening, Nevada. I'm Roy Rosell here from the Channel 25 Weather Studios and streaming everywhere at KPVM.TV. Taking a look in the corner right there, there is a wind advisory, but also taking a look at Nevada. Up in northern Nevada, Fernley is at 63 degrees, Fallon is at 61 degrees, Carson City at 59, Tonopah at 54, Goldfield at 55, Beatty at 64, Amargosa at 69, Las Vegas at 64, and Death Valley at 79 degrees. Here in the Paradise of Pahrump, it is currently 64 degrees. It is sunny today. The high just a little while ago was 67 degrees. Humidity 17% today, and the sun rose at 6:15 in the morning and set at 5:37 p.m. Humidity goes up to 38%, and the low tonight is going to be 46 degrees. Taking a look at the 7-day forecast, swish! It looks like there's going to be a lot of wind into the weekend, and we're staying in the mid-60s, into the mid-50s, and then back up into the 60s next week. It's going to be partly cloudy. I hope nobody blows away. Back to the desk. Here's Chris.
Thank you very much, Rory. Well, that'll just about do it for us tonight. I'm Chris Palermo, News 25. Make it a great night.